The world portrayed in Half-Life 2 is one filled with hopelessness and sorrow, an Earth that is gradually deteriorating, leaving no option but to await an inevitable demise. In my personal opinion, Half-Life 2 is a flawless game, as even after a decade of being aware of the game's existence and playing it an unhealthy amount of times, I continue to stumble upon new discoveries every time I launch it. And I'm not alone in this sentiment, as the community consistently uncovers fresh ideas and aspects of the game. This includes reconstructing the game that could have been from the beta leaks, unraveling the hidden lore behind each model, and even encountering new glitches or subtle features. It feels as if a new piece of Half-Life trivia emerges online every month, demonstrating the immense strength of this community. In this video, I aim to shed light on the phenomenal environmental storytelling in Half-Life 2. The level of intricacy in these environments and the individual stories they convey is truly remarkable, flawlessly constructing the world without relying on excessive exposition or forced information. Without further ado, let's have a look at Half-Life 2's Dying World. The world depicted in Half-Life 2 is undeniably bleak and desolate upon a closer look. In the aftermath of humanity's surrender to the Combine, citizens are forced to exist within confined quarters, facing the scarcity of food and coming to the realization of the utter destruction of their once prosperous lives. Their sole source of diversion lies in the broadcasts of Dr. Breen's propaganda on the televisions and massive monitors, serving as their only form of entertainment. A reproductive suppression field covers the world, effectively preventing any possibility of human reproduction. This chilling reality, revealed not only by Dr. Breen but also sustained by the absence of children in the game, serves as a reminder for the irreversible loss suffered by humanity. Furthermore, the presence of the playground with the baby doll at the game's opening serves as a haunting symbol, showcasing the remnants of a bygone era that humanity can never hope to achieve again under the hands of the Combine. Those who defy these harsh lifestyles are promptly subjected to merciless, brutal sanctions or a fate worse than death. The Stalker serves as a warning from the Combine to those who dare to rebel against their authority or find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. Every aspect of their humanity is stripped away, as they undergo genetic and brutal modifications to become the living embodiment of those who oppose them. Limbs such as legs, hands, eyes, ears, and nose are amputated and replaced with cybernetics, enabling them to function within the Citadel. They exist as mere shells of their former selves, devoid of any individuality or consciousness. Their fate is undeniably one of the most tragic outcomes for a human in fiction, and evokes genuine sympathy for what they've become. So what happens if you willingly pledge your patriotism to the Combine? Well, be prepared for the consequences. Genetic modification awaits, and as you climb higher within the ranks, your humanity starts to slowly fade away. The regular Metro cops in the game are the lowest level of this choice, acting similar to police patrol units within City 17, but much worse. They act like complete bullies, which is ironic as they're dubbed as civil protection in the game.
Let me read a letter I recently received. Dear Dr.
Who are ordinary humans who joined for personal perks such as better food, lifestyle, the protection of their family, or even the opportunity for non-mechanical reproduction simulations. They enforce the Combine's ideology onto those who strive to remain human. Regardless of their motivations, these officers are promised protection from the wrath of the Combine. They can be seen everywhere, particularly in the early chapters of the game, mercilessly assaulting citizens as they patrol the streets to ensure that order is maintained. The transhuman forces are the next next step above the ranks beyond civil protection, serving as the primary ground military unit. Their human memories are wiped clean, and they are equipped with a voice modulator or ventilator, as seen in Nova Prospekt. You're fighting these guys for the majority of the game. The mask they wear suggests that they have advanced optics and have a much wider range of weapons, including a pulse rifle and grenades. These special forces are introduced after the Ravenholm chapter and play a significant role during the human uprising, traveling in squads most of the time, and led by the next upgrade within the rank. Occupying the highest echelon of the hierarchy, the Combine elites stand above all others, representing the pinnacle of accomplishment, wearing a noble white armor and sporting a helmet equipped with a single-eyed lens for better accuracy. They possess superior hearing capabilities compared to regular soldiers. Their unwavering loyalty to Breen positions them at the forefront of power. These entities no longer exhibit any semblance of human life. They have become mere pawns for their superiors to manipulate. Any personal thoughts, motivations, or aspirations they once had have been extinguished, as they willingly surrendered their existence to the Combine. The perspective of this hierarchy and its interesting implications are portrayed perfectly in the free fan games Entropy Zero 1 and 2. You should have a look into it if you're interested in playing the big bad of the Half-Life series. These two games take a deep dive into the eternal attributes of the Combine, and it's done flawlessly. So after discovering the fact that the Combine are more human than they are alien, it honestly had me feeling a little bit of remorse for them. These people just wanted to make ends meet, whether it be for their own survival or family, and have came to the acceptance that the world is doomed. It seriously begs the question, would you join the Combine after witnessing humanity lose in a measly 7 hours? People just gave in to accept the new world, and it's genuinely saddening how quick some are to turn to the winning side, selfishly stripping away what made them humans in the first place just to achieve survivability and solace into this lie of freedom that they've been forced to believe. The rule of the Combine is truly horrifying, as you're forced to exist in a world that is gradually deteriorating right before your very eyes. The Combine is depleting the Earth of its natural resources, and there seemed to be no way to stop them before the arrival of Gordon Freeman. The sea levels are rapidly decreasing, causing entire sections of the canals to be drained and replaced with toxic chemical waste. You can really see the damage that has been done to the Earth, with ships merged into the sand, gloomy skies, abandoned cars, and collapsed bridges. This makes it nearly impossible to escape the city on foot unless one has access to a method of transportation. And I also love how these bottomless pits serve as an insta-death in the game to give another grueling reminder of the ocean being drained for its resources, with how far down it is, with it also being infested with the creatures from Zen. Many of the remaining rebels in these canals have fallen victim to shelling, a tactic employed by the Combine where they use headcrabs to their advantage. They're loaded into pods and launched directly at these rebel outposts, saving both manpower and time as the survivors fall victim to the parasite. A prime example of this is Ravenholm, but I'll shed further light upon that infamous chapter in a bit. The placement of the corpses through Half-Life 2 is rather meticulous and well thought out. Let me give you an example of this. This little shelter and water hazard always gives me the creeps. From the aftermath alone, it's easy to tell that a small number of people were living in this makeshift hideout to escape the Combine, or just to hold out for as long as they could. But as the shelling began, they met their unfortunate ends, with the player finally delivering their solace after everything they've been through. Subtle storytelling like this is so good. Most of the camps have been completely decimated, with only one hidden deep in the canals, avoiding any detection from the Combine, which already shows their relentless intentions to seize humanity of all freedom. Another great level for world building is Highway 17. The chapter really opens up the world for you and just how desperate people were to escape the reigns of the Combine, as it paints the story of how many helpless civilians were planning their desperate escape from City 17, only to be completely decimated by a gunship or the ground units, either that or simply being relocated to other places. And if escaping the hellscape that is City 17 was hard enough through the canals, the lands are worse, as a colony of these creatures known as the antlions reside beneath the beaches. Their colonies are further explored in Half-Life 2 Episode 2, where you can really see just how powerful this race is. With enough time, who knows, an entire world could be beneath the surface. But I think one of the most morbid spots is this part. As I was collecting all the lambda locators, I found myself hopping over this fence to discover the horrific sight in front of me. It's obvious that this citizen was hiding in plain sight from the Combine, as there's a mattress and a couple of beer bottles next to him. But the overbearing existential dread after the realization that humanity was doomed had him opt for the easy way out, as seen with the revolver next to him. Editing paths here. Whilst I was splicing together this portion of the video, I couldn't help but to be drawn by this poster on the wall. It resembles the next step in evolution for humanity, with the ape and human having muscles and nerves past their skin, contrasting the synthetic augmentations on the Combine, symbolizing the sudden leap from man to machine, which from what science has taught us is not how evolution works in such a short amount of time. It instead looks heavily modified, forced even. It's not normal at all. The poster is also reminiscent of the pictures you'd find in science books or online, somewhat making the viewers believe that this is without a doubt the next step in human evolution, which is from what we know is far from the truth. And I think the devs over at Valve knew exactly what they were doing with placing this specific poster to the morbid scene that the player encounters, as the civilian's end represents the doom of humanity as a whole, replaced by the Combine's genetic engineering for a new age. Gone are the days of being a fully organic species. It's incredibly poetic the deeper you think about it, but that's just my 2 cents. Let's get back to the video. Another eerie location within Half-Life 2 is Nova Prospekt, a labyrinth of misery and despair. Nova Prospekt is an interesting case, a place of purgatory and torture to those who are dubbed as anti-citizens, being processed into stalkers and soldiers, or simply tortured to death. Nova Prospekt is actually a great turning point to the game, as the uprising of humanity has finally shattered one of the Combine's most powerful strongholds with the help of the invasion of the antlions. You can hear the Combine panicking, their screams in the distance as the antlions are tearing them to shreds, and can even see an antlion guard messing up a bunch of Combine soldiers. Although your main enemy is the Combine in this game, I can't help but to feel some sort of way, but I honestly can't describe it. There's also an incredibly surreal moment within the fight at the laundry section. Going into this small corner of the arena invites you into an incredibly compact room, and you can hear something breathing, but you can't make out what it is before actually heading towards the cause of the noise. It's eerier once you realize that this thing could have been here for ages, completely undetected from the Combine, living off of those who unfortunately fell prey to curiosity. The chapter as a whole shows the inhumane methods of torture, with the Vorticon being punished. There are many depictions of the Combine using brutal methods of extracting information throughout the game, which can be seen as early as the first chapter, but the small corridors and empty cell blocks almost feel liminal. Who knows what else could have been happening within this prison before the arrival of Gordon Freeman. Ravenholm is widely considered to be one of the most frightening sequences in the Half-Life series. Players are forced to navigate through the desolate ghost town that was once a peaceful village hidden from the watchful eyes of the Combine. However, once discovered, the Combine unleashed a horde of headcrabs upon the town through the use of shelling, leaving its defenseless inhabitants to fall prey to the creatures, serving their new purpose as its host. Now, Ravenholm stands as a mere shadow of its former self, overrun by dormant headcrab zombies whose designs in Half-Life 2 are truly terrifying. The standard headcrab zombie still shows signs of life, as evidenced by their haunting cries for help when their audio cues are reversed. It's a chilling realization that the host is trapped in an eternity of pain and suffering. The other variants, such as the fast zombie, are equally disturbing in both appearance and behavior. Stripped of their skin, these creatures leap towards their prey with exposed bones and muscles, emitting frantic mumbling noises and screams that hint at their former humanity. Their swift attacks make them one of the most fearsome enemies to face, especially when they travel in packs. When defeated, their human skulls are revealed, reminding the player that this was once a living and breathing human being who unfortunately underwent a horrid metamorphosis to suit the headcrab's needs. Another mutation, the poison headcrab zombie, is characterized by its host hunched over with multiple headcrabs attached to their back. Their inflamed purple skin could be the result of the potent poison delivered by the headcrabs, making their bulky figure tougher and more resilient. The agonizing noises they produce suggest that the host is also still conscious. And the environments fit these horrid designs perfectly, an untouched, unexplored domain of a bygone era. The aftermath of the disastrous measures that the Combine will go through to ensure that their threats are neutralized. It's one of the few levels in Half-Life 2 that take place at night, which also sells its horror elements. It's a chapter that's so distinguishable and unique from others, as it's the first time you're exploring an entire town infested with zombies, all alone for the grand portion of it too. Father Grigori is also one of the most interesting characters in the series, a former priest who completely fell into the madness of the town, the only survivor of this accursed realm. In all honesty, I don't blame the fall of his sanity at all. Anybody would go mad over the shocking realization that the people who you were once peacefully residing with to escape the harsh reality of this world are now husks of their former selves, unrecognizable from the next. You'd wonder why he never escaped. He's more than capable of surviving on his own, but you could immediately piece together that executing those who have fallen grants him a sense of relief, as if he is delivering solace to those who have fell victim of the headcrabs, believing that their souls are now free from this torment.
Let me end your torment. I remember your true face. Woe betide thee, child. Come to me.
His madness is also pitched upon further with the way he sets up traps throughout the entire town, hell-bent on giving rest to those who met unforeseen consequences. The last notion that I want to talk about is the fact that although a sense of power has been established within the Half-Life world, we still haven't gotten the full extent of its limitations. As for the Combine, we've only gotten a glimpse of what seemed to be their overworld when Gordon attempts to sabotage Breen's desperate escape at the end of the game. The fact that they forced many races to flee to Xen in the first place depicts their reign over many planets. Who knows just how many they've conquered before Earth? Is humanity's uprising merely a blip in their overall stature? And we all know the existence of the infamous G-Man at this point, which also opens up a gateway in conversation to those who possess far greater power than the Combine, and are essentially playing a game of 4D chess within the universe. I've made a video on the G-Man taking a deep dive into my interpretations of him. I mean, you've probably seen it. It is the most viewed video on my channel, but I'm just leaving this section in the video as a food for thought. And that concludes my showcase of Half-Life 2's Dying World. Although the beta is a lot more grim and dark, I believe Valve nailed the immersion of this world and its inhabitants. I had this idea at the back of my mind for a while and wanted to share it with you all, so thanks for watching. Additionally, I'd love to hear your personal thoughts on Half-Life's world and what your scariest moments were. Once again, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one.